Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. This week I want to dive into mental health and I want to give you 4 really key tips to help yourself understand and have really good mental health, because this is stuff that we have to be doing. These are the things that we're never taught. And this is really kind of the basics of how to be able to take care of yourself. So like always, before we get into this week's video, my name is Stephanie. I'm a life and relationship coach. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below and click on post notifications. So mental health is obviously a huge topic, and I don't think most people realize that there's really just like these key fundamental things that we were supposed to learn that fortunately we didn't, that would allow us to live healthier and happier lives. So let's get into that. So you essentially, whatever you feel is based on a story that you're telling yourself. So if our thoughts create our feelings, it is essential that we understand what is going on in here, make sure we can monitor this and understand this thing called the human mind. So when you are feeling stressed or you're dealing with a challenge or whatever, sad, depressed, anything that's going on in your life, it is going to be your mental and your emotional sides to you that are going to either help you out of that challenging time in your life, or they're going to hurt you. So these two sides of you are either going to be the thing that's going to help you come out, or it's going to be the thing that's going to cause you to stay stuck. So let's get into these 4 really key things. Number 1, we have to learn to stop running away from our problems. So let's acknowledge basically how we feel. This is where you will stop abandoning yourself. This is where you will start acknowledging, I feel sad, I feel happy, I feel confused, I feel stressed, and being able to acknowledge what your inner child or that part of you that is actually feeling rather than suppressing it. And obviously, like life is very busy, and if you had a child with you 24 hours a day and it was your job to take care of that child, you can't acknowledge everything in every moment that that child wants to tell you. There are plenty of times where you might have to say, I'm so sorry, give me 1 second, I'm busy right now, but I do want to hear what you have to say. So even when you're going about your day-to-day life and things are busy and all of a sudden something comes up, maybe in that moment you can't deal with it, that's fine, but don't ignore it. Come back to it, because maybe you haven't heard this before, but you're an adult and now it's your responsibility to actually take care of yourself. And this is a crucial step towards good mental health, because if you can't even do this, you're sure is not going to be able to do anything else. So what most people do is they might be able to acknowledge something that they're feeling. Maybe they don't suppress everything, but something will come up and they'll say to me too, even clients or anyone in the DMs, all of you guys will say, look, I can acknowledge that I feel sad, that I feel depressed, that I feel this way, but now what? So either you kind of get stuck in the now what, and we'll get into that, or you feel something that's so uncomfortable and you want to take responsibility for it, but you don't know what to do with it, and then you project it onto other people. You want other people to change. You want the situation to change, and then you'll feel good, and then you'll feel better. The next thing is, do not run away from your pain. Now, pain is different than a problem. A problem is I acknowledge that I feel this way. The pain is now sitting in the sadness, sitting in the grief, sitting in the frustration. And a lot of people don't want to do it. Either they think it is what it is, what can I do about it? So they don't want to sit in it, or they're scared to sit in it because they feel like they're going to get stuck there. Or maybe they have sit in it and they're tired of sitting in it and they don't want to sit in it anymore. And it's not how life really works. You know what I mean? Like, it ebbs and flows, and pain comes and pain goes. And I think when pain comes up, that's your opportunity to keep going into like another level of healing. And here's the thing, if you don't acknowledge the pain still sits there, and it's going to come up at another point in time. And usually when the pain comes up, it's when you least expect it, it's when you do not want it, or it's when you have, a really big spiritual awakening. And then that's some deep stuff right there that you're going to go through. That's a lot of pain, because it's forcing itself out. It can't stay stuck there any longer. So that's why it's so important to like deal with things as they happen. It keeps you steady and healthy and, flowing. Look at it as you're giving yourself a constant tune-up or an oil change. Like, you need it, and it has to happen, and it's going to happen regardless, because at some point the car is going to break down and you're going to need more oil. So give yourself what you need when you need it. Learn how to be able to manage your own pain, see your pain, and deal with your pain. Practicing detaching is number 3, and I have to say this is probably one of the hardest things that people have to practice doing. And as like the light comes in, It's one of the hardest things that I think people have to practice. I always say practice detaching, but it is one of the most powerful things that you can do, because when you really learn how to not only acknowledge something and feel it and sit in it for a minute, but then move away from it, game changer. That's the worst snap ever, but absolute game changer, because that distance allows you the space for it to just go right through, or that distance allows you to decide. That's where the decision comes into play of like, do I want to stay here or do I want to go somewhere else? And that doesn't mean that you're suppressing it, because you did everything that you needed to do in order to see it and to own it, etc. But you don't want to stay stuck in it either. You want to feel inspired, feel hopeful, feel motivated to be able to pull yourself out of that space. It's just like what our therapists do, our coaches do, our friends do, our family. What they do for us is help us out of that space when we're kind of stuck there. And you should be able to do this as well. And the only way you can do it is if you detach from yourself a little bit to see this pain, to see these thoughts. The only reason why me, a therapist, your friend, your family can do this for you is because we're detached from you. We're not emotionally in it with you. That's the only way someone can help you. If someone's in it with you, they're not going to be a good source of help. That's why sometimes friends and family are actually not good sources of help when you're dealing with a situation, because they are emotionally invested in parts of your life. So when you're, ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever comes around and they know that that person's treated you like crap, they're emotionally in it. So they're not going to probably give you sound advice. They're going to give you emotionally charged advice because they're emotionally in it with you. So it is really a critical thing towards good mental health in to be able to detach from the mind. And number 4 is kind of what we just touched on. It's really that crossroad of, what do I want? Do I want to stay stuck here? And yes, this pain is here, and maybe the pain doesn't fully go away. Pain and grieving and mourning and all those things and disappointments and things that we have to go through in life, hard times, past wounds, etc. Sometimes they're with us for our whole life, and it's not that it's a scar and it's with us. And sometimes if you poke the scar, it's gonna bleed again. So just acknowledge that you feel this, getting goosebumps. Just acknowledge that you are a human being that's experiencing a human emotion or feeling to something that you went through, but be able to pull yourself out of it and decide, okay, yes, this happened. I had a good cry. I did what I needed to do. And it sucks that this happened to me, or whatever the situation is based on your life and your circumstances, but I'm not going to stay here. And this wasn't supposed to happen, or I deserve better, or just those affirmations. That's why we say do affirmations, because it will help you to pull out a good arsenal of things to say to yourself to help yourself to the next stage. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you. Share it with anyone who you think might benefit from this information. And don't forget to click down below if you're interested in any of my courses as well as private coaching. I'll see you next week.